Here with Concordia head football coach Patrick Daberkow to preview the 2025 season as we record this. About a week and a half from officially kicking off the new season against Doane at home. This is year 9 for you as head coach. What do you think has changed the most for the program since December of 2016 when you were named head coach?
Well, I know my head from the sand, unlike 9 years ago. It's interesting because it takes a while to figure out what the job is, and I finally feel like I have a handle on what a calendar looks like. 9 years in, you better figure that out. But just when stuff needs to be turned in, and when what things to look out for, and what hurdles are coming in the calendar year. That just establishing those rhythms, I think, has been really a blessing as a staff. Our staff has been together now for a while, and that's really helpful to be able to kind of be able to pivot quick when we need to, and communication's pretty well streamlined, and so it's been a wild ride, but we feel like we kind of at least have been down the road and kind of know where the potholes are and how to avoid them. But every year is a different journey and a little bit of a different road, and so we'll see what the season brings.
You guys have turned the page on last year long ago, I think.
Long time ago.
Yeah, but it is something to build upon what you guys were able to accomplish. What do you look forward to? You've already been in the process of it, but looking forward to kind of replacing some of the guys from last year and seeing new guys emerge in different ways.
Yeah, I think turning the page is something that you have to do. The sooner you can do it, the better. And we every year it's different. A lot of the success that we had last year, people know the names, but we know the names of all the years, and so you go through like this mourning process of not being able to see the guys that you saw on a daily basis for 4 years, and just getting to be around those guys, and then you have to move on, and that relationship and that dynamic change. I got to golf with some of those guys this summer. I tell them that I'm not Coach Daberkow anymore. I'm just Patrick. So it's kind of fun to get to know them in a different way as they get older and start going on with their lives and spread out across the United States and working and having success professionally. It's just fun to see it.
Now it's time for this senior class to leave its mark. What are some of the main character traits that you see in kind of the veterans of this team?
Hungry. I think we have a hungry group. I think about our seniors, and not just our seniors, because it's hard to say who's a senior anymore. But Van Cleve's getting married, and I think he's 21, and he's been to college for 4 years, but I think he's got extra eligibility. So when I think about the leadership on this team, they're guys who have offensively we're stepping into new leadership roles. Defensively, we're a little more established in some playmaking roles. But it's been fun to see that progress. It's been fun to see that group kind of coalesce a little bit and learn, and excited to see it play out on Saturdays.
There's always attention on the quarterback position. Now you're replacing the guy who is the most productive quarterback in school history. But looking at Gideon Stark, what are some traits that he possesses that make him exciting and maybe even different from what we've seen the last few years?
DJ can make all the throws. We would put him in Hail Mary situations the last 3 years. He's got a strong arm, and to see his decision making, that progress has been really encouraging. He's got a rocket, and his leadership has really grown. I've seen a ton of all of our players. I think that I've seen the most maturity out of him as far as just personal growth and and just leadership. I've been really impressed with what we've seen from him.
And as an offense, pretty much broke records across the board last year. How do you see your team kind of picking up? I mean, is it a case where you feel like you can pick up where you left off offensively?
Yeah, no, we're throwing it all out the window. We're going to run triple option now and
Okay.
on wing T. I got my Madison High School playbook from 1999 out, and we're just going to run that. So share that part with Doan. I think that I think every season you're going to have things change a little bit. You know, we have the structure in place and the system in place now offensively where we feel like we can troubleshoot things, and I think our offensive staff has just done a great job of building on what we've done in the past and catering to the strengths of the players that are in different roles now. But the structure is in place, the system is good, and we'll refine it and tweak it as the games, as we go through mid-game. You're always tweaking things on the sideline and at halftime, and it'll be fun to see things come together, and we're very confident about where we're at. We feel like we're on pace for where we should be, and we're excited for Saturdays.
Wanted to talk about things from a skill perspective offensively with running back and receiver in particular. Carlos Collazo was really good last year, kind of as the number 2 to Mark Arp. At receiver, you're going to be looking for some guys to emerge. What do you see coming together in preseason?
Well, it's just new names and faces except for Van Cleve. Adam's a staple in the offense and is one of the most dynamic players I've ever coached as far as athleticism and just, if a guy's just, you can't really pin it on, like he's not bigger than everybody else. He might not be faster, but he's probably the quickest guy on the field whenever he steps onto the field. And so he'll be getting the ball, I'm sure. Johnny Pels is going to take a bigger role at receiver. Max Bartles has really been a patient leader, and just excited to see the season for him. And he's going to be a great playmaker for us. Carter Skleba has really taken a step up, and Ian Medic moved over from the basketball team. And then we have a ton of Landon Hendricks and Jackson Fries and other players who are kind of waiting in the wings and making moves at practice to position themselves to contribute. And so really the sky's the limit with our wide receiver and running back room. I think Calvin Sassman and Tyler Douglas are going to be impactful players for us at running back as well. And it'll be exciting to see that group come together.
Up front, you had a lot of seniors on the offensive and defensive lines. What do you like about who's emerging up front on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, we replaced 5 senior starters last year, and last November I was nervous about that. And then the off-season we went through the off-season, went through spring ball, grew in confidence, and I've only grown in more confidence with that group. Derek Campbell at left tackle, Cadence Velde at guard, Brevin Damrow at center, and then we got Carter Meyer and Lane Bogarski and Seth Moore and Jeremiah Vasquez, Thomas, Josh Lure. All those guys are going to be contributors this season, and feel really good about our offensive line group. The work that they put in, the leadership that we have there, and excited to see that group get this opportunity because they've all been kind of waiting, and these opportunities haven't caught anybody off guard. These guys have been working really hard for it, and you talk about skills and you talk about O-line, and our tight ends are kind of a blend of the two. Maddox Rickardson, Jesse Herndon, and Dusty Kapke, and then we have a room full of guys who have been working really hard, and I think have a shot to contribute there too.
Mm-hmm. I believe Thomas just got some recognition on the all-name team.
Yeah, first
so,
team
yeah.
all name. Thomas squared. Yeah.
Thankfully, you do have a very proven veteran to anchor your defensive line with Carson Fellhofer. Just what does he mean? I know he's probably at the top of the scouting report for every opponent you play.
He should be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be a problem. He's kind of got Paul Bunyan status with our freshmen, I think. Like, and he kind of looks like him too. And so the legends kind of grow. Like, I think everybody kind of expects him to take the center and guard and knock their heads together and go sack the quarterback every play. And we're not going to ask him to do that. He's going to be an anchor though. He's a tough football player. Only player I've coached that has started on the offensive and defensive lines, because he had to fill a role as a freshman on O-line. We recruited him as a defensive lineman. We had a rash of injuries, asked him to move over for the second half of the season in 22. He did that because that was what was best for the team, and then we moved him back, and he's just been a force on defense. So excited for the season that he's going to have, and then we got a great supporting group around him. Terrigan Shebek, AJ Frazee, Luke Lafleur, Carson Adams, and kind of the list goes on. We got a lot of defensive linemen that have been putting in the work and expect big seasons out of.
Just continuing with the defense, can you break down maybe linebacker and defensive back a little bit? It kind of looks like this year defensive back is one of your more experienced groups.
Yeah, we have a very veteran group at DB this year, and excited to see the season that they'll have. You think about guys who have contributed for us in the past, returning starters with Blake Mosentine and Will Potratz, and we brought in Jacob Rowland, who's having a really good fall camp, and he's going to be a playmaker at corner for us. Cade Seaman has made a ton of progress, and then we have that cornerback room that is just, I think it's gone from 2 years ago. I felt like we were kind of like, all right, well, we got to mask and duct tape and baling wire, and we got to figure out how to piece together a secondary. And now I feel like it's one of our strengths, largely in part to that room. And so our cornerback play is going to be improved for sure. And then you think of safety, Dalo. We have guys like Jaden Sire. I think Jaden Sire has made the most progress of any guy we've had from freshman to senior. He's like one of those typical C2 11-man high school local guys who just came in and just put in the work and has gotten exponentially better, and he has really worked himself into being an all-conference type player. Excited for the season he's going to have. Luke Penrod's another guy who has just been a playmaker for us and will continue to be. And then we got guys coming in that we feel like we'll push those guys to be at their best at all times. Tanner Fromm is a guy from an 8-man player from Plainview who's just one of the most diligent workers I've ever. I shouldn't say ever. We just got a ton of guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball, just been kind of waiting and working and putting in their unseen hours, and I'm excited to see it pay off for them. I think KT, Caden Thompson, and Trevin Weddle and others are gonna push for some contributing time, and it'll be exciting to see that come together.
You mentioned with the offensive line how just the off season has given you confidence. Is that kind of a theme with the team as a whole, that you've had a really good off season? You feel like recruiting and development is where it needs to be, that your program's in a position you can graduate a big senior class and feel like things are still in place right now to be
it's
very good.
It's the program's healthy. We have we're trying to do college football different. I say it a lot, and I think if you can do it a little bit, like you can be. Oh man, I'm trying to articulate this in a way that won't get me in trouble. You can be like everybody else, and just try and be bigger, faster, and stronger than them when you play them on Saturdays, or you can just operate the program differently. Like we spend our time and resources in different ways than I think a lot of other programs do. And as you know, Division I, Power 5 college football goes off the rails, I think that small college football is a great option for a lot of young men who, you know, are in it for the love of the game and a college degree. And so we offer that, and I think that the camaraderie we have in our locker room, I think it shows by the amount of guys who just stick it out. We don't, you know, knock on wood, but the transfer portal thing has not really been a huge negative impact for our football program. We have winning as a major priority. Nobody wants to be part of a program that loses, and so that's a great endeavor. It's something good to pursue. And then on top of that, we just do a lot of meaningful work, and our guys are doing things off the field that are very impactful, and they're growing as men, and that's probably the most rewarding thing to see, is to go to the weddings and get to see guys and celebrate big life events, and even just the text message threads with alums and guys who recently graduated and guys I played with, and it's just fun to be a part of a program where after you leave physically, you haven't left, from a impact standpoint. And so I think that's something that's kind of set us apart, something that's exciting to see where it's at.
Yeah, and maybe a good example of who some of your guys are was the storm we had recently, and I don't know if you even had to tell them to go help. A lot of them wanted to go.
Yeah,
help
so
people. Right?
I woke up to a broken window in my dining room, and my 7th grade daughter had a bunch of people over, and so we had a bunch of teenage girls in the basement with trees coming in windows, and when all the dust settled and the storm ended, it was after the chaos kind of like calmed down a little bit, my phone just started blowing up, and I said, hey guys, let's just meet at the locker room at 9:30 and we'll get our bearings, and then we'll try and like mobilize a little bit. Well, before 9:30 hit, we already had guys that put on their work shoes and their jeans and their leather gloves, and they were moving trees out of the neighborhood just south of campus. And so by the time that we even had a chance to mobilize, we had guys who were already out in the community, and it was just kind of like, all right, well, you guys, we're not going to pull you away from those houses that are literally buried in broken limbs to come talk about how we can help other people. So we had crews out that entire day for the whole day, and it was, I don't remember, I mean, there was no power. We didn't, the guys didn't stop for lunch. Like they were focused on the work, and it was good it's just a fun group to be a part of and have the privilege to coach.
So they're more concerned about that than talking about playoffs or top 25 preseason rankings. Then that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we don't get too caught up in that stuff. One day at a time.
Okay, you want the fun questions?
Well, I love fun questions. Can I talk about our linebackers?
Yes, we should.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I talked about
No.
linebackers, but Grant Hoos is going to be a stud for us. He has been, and he will continue to be. Drake Trent's going to step into a role where he's going to play more, contribute more, and he's kind of worked. Having him, he actually got up and talked during our preseason camp, or during fall camp. I called on him for something, and he talked about the importance of his role on kickoff return and how vital that was to the ultimate goal of winning the game. And having players understand their roles as they progress into the program, Drake just really articulated that, and he kind of is an embodiment of that. And so that was kind of fun to see, and it's fun to see his progress. I think Dylan Meyer is going to be a playmaker for us, Deegan Barnes, and then we have some upperclassmen that have really just been putting in time and have worked their way into being contributors. You talk about our special teams units. I think Mason Fortney has been a starter probably for 3 years on those. Zach Downs has played a major role. Guys like Logan DeCoste and I'm forgetting others. But we have a good group of linebackers, and I'm excited to see them come in and make an impact this year.
And maybe should mention special teams. You have
Yeah.
a kicker,
Yeah.
punter returning.
Yeah.
Not having Coach Meyer around is different.
Yeah.
But you do have some
Yeah.
good players on the special teams.
Our specialists, I think, are going to be a strength for us this year. Peyton Atwood returns with a ton of experience, and Ashton Gazga has done a really good job pushing him. John Fellhofer has always been a staple and a hard worker, and he'll have an opportunity to contribute. And then at punter, Braxton Cook he's really proven himself to have a strong leg and be a consistent playmaker for us. And Max Werdeman is, I think, the best long snapper in the conference, and so I'm excited to see him have a good season as well. Gideon and Braylon Muley have been doing a majority of the holding for us, but you can't mention kickers without mentioning the snappers and the holders, and so I think those guys are all going to have a great year.
You put a fake field goal on tape against Doane a couple years ago with Gideon.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
Don't. Maybe I shouldn't mention that. Okay. Fun questions quickly.
Awesome.
Well, I've been asking people like favorite Lincoln restaurant. Maybe it's appropriate to say if you've got a date night with your wife, what's the go-to restaurant?
Emily and I usually hit up the Haymarket, and there's a spot called Lincoln's Pub. It's kind of close to Nebraska Wesleyan's campus, so we don't want to go too far into there. There's also Piedmont Bistro. That's a good one.
Okay.
And I don't know. There's a ton of good burger joints down in the Haymarket too. Starlight Lounge, though. Okay. That's the spot. That's the New Year's spot.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Well, no, not like now.
Okay.
If you're 40.
Okay. Do you have any kind of pre-game superstitions or rituals on game days?
No, I call my dad right before I meet with the officials, like about an hour before kickoff. That's just been something I've always done. That's what I do.
If you had to pick a band or a singer to play in Bulldog Stadium, who would you pick?
Emily and I went to Shane Smith and the Saints at the Bourbon, and in Lincoln, they put on a great show. Averitt Brothers are really good. Turnpike Troubadours. A couple years ago, they came to Lincoln. That was a good show. One of those probably would be good.
You went to that this summer?
No, that was Shane Smith and the Saints were in Lincoln in February, okay. And Turnpike and Averitt Brothers opened for Turnpike, and that was at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The nice thing about living here is that you're close enough to hit all these concerts. And there were some good shows in Omaha this year that I wanted to go to, but I couldn't.
Well, was there something fun you got to do in the summer?
I had both of my brother-in-laws get married in the summer, or got married this last 3 months, and so one got married in San Diego, and one got married here in Lincoln, and so we went on trips there. Did some family stuff out in Colorado. We love Colorado, and so that's a quick drive.
Do you have a pro sports team that you still follow? I think we're on again.
I don't really follow any pro sports teams. My son's a big Chiefs fan, but I think he's a bandwagon jumper. So he's 9, so we'll allow it. He has his favorite player is Justin Watson for the wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, and not Mahomes.
Not Mahomes, because he was going to write a letter and he's going to write it to Mahomes. I was like, write it to somebody else, and then he's like, he picked Justin Watson, and he's just been a huge Justin Watson fan ever since. So yeah, so I'm a low-key Chiefs fan. I think that's more regional and just because of Roman. Yeah.
You have a hidden talent?
I got too many to mention.
Biggest hobby outside of football?
Not a big hobby guy, but I enjoy it. Someday I'll golf and hunt again. Someday.
Someday after football.
Yeah, fishing maybe too.